When you truly surrender to God, the Holy Spirit starts guiding your life. Most believers say they want God to guide their lives. They pray for direction. They ask for wisdom. They ask Jesus to show them the right path. But there is something many people don't realize. You cannot ask God to lead while still holding tightly to control, because real surrender is not just a prayer. It is a decision to trust God more than your own understanding. And that is where many believers struggle. The hidden struggle. Most Christians have many people love Jesus. They read the Bible, they go to church, they pray regularly, but deep inside, there is still a quiet resistance. Not rebellion, just fear. Because surrender feels risky. It feels like stepping into the unknown, and human nature prefers control over uncertainty. So we say things like, "Lord, guide my life." But inside we are thinking, "Just please guide it the way I want." We want God's approval, not always His direction, and that's where the struggle begins. Why surrender feels so difficult? For many people, control became a survival strategy. Maybe life taught you that you must figure everything out alone. Maybe you were hurt, disappointed, or betrayed. So you learned to rely on yourself. You learned to plan everything, to protect yourself, to control outcomes. But following the Holy Spirit requires something different. It requires trust. And trust means letting go of control. Not because you are weak, but because God is wiser. The truth about the Holy Spirit. The Holy Spirit does not force people. He does not shout over your decisions. He gently leads. He nudges. He whispers. Sometimes it feels like a quiet thought. Sometimes it feels like a deep peace. Sometimes it feels like a warning inside your spirit. But here is the important part. The Holy Spirit guides those who are willing to follow, not those who only want confirmation. Many believers wait for a loud sign from heaven. But God usually works through small steps. A thought, a conviction, a quiet direction. And when you respond to that small step, the next step becomes clearer. Why confusion sometimes happens. Many people say, "God is not speaking to me." But often the problem is not that God is silent. The problem is that we are waiting for full clarity before obedience. We want the entire plan. We want every detail. We want to know where the road will lead. But faith does not work like that. God usually gives direction one step at a time. Obey the first step, then the second step appears, then the third. Clarity follows obedience, not the other way around. What real surrender actually looks like, many people think surrender means giving God their big life decisions, like career, marriage, or moving to a new place. But real surrender actually starts much smaller. It shows up in everyday choices. It looks like this. You stop asking God to bless your plans, and you start asking Him to shape them. You stop trying to control every outcome, and you start trusting His timing. You stop forcing doors open, and you allow God to guide your steps. Surrender is not losing your life. It is allowing God to lead it. How to let the Holy Spirit guide you daily. So how does this work in real life? How do you actually allow the Holy Spirit to lead you? Here are a few practical steps. 1. Start your day by yielding to God before your schedule begins, before your phone distracts you, before stress fills your mind. Pause and say a simple prayer. Holy Spirit, guide my thoughts today. Guide my words. Guide my decisions. That moment of surrender changes the direction of your day. 2. Learn to notice the inner nudge. The Holy Spirit often guides through quiet impressions. a sudden thought to check on someone, a feeling that something is not right, a hesitation before making a decision. These small moments matter. The more you listen, the clearer they become. But when we constantly ignore them, our spiritual sensitivity fades. 3. Follow peace, not pressure. God's guidance usually comes with peace, even when the decision is difficult. Pressure feels rushed, fearful, confusing. But the Holy Spirit leads with steady confidence. When your spirit feels calm and settled, even in uncertainty, that is often a sign of God's direction. 4. Obey what you already know. Many people are waiting for a new word from God, but they are ignoring what He already told them. Forgive that person. Let go of that habit. Spend time with Him. Trust Him with that situation. When you obey the truth, you already know. God reveals more. 5. Stay close to Jesus. Guidance is not about mastering rules. It is about relationship. The closer you walk with Jesus, the easier it becomes to recognize His voice, just like you recognize the voice of someone you love. The Holy Spirit leads you the same way, through relationship. The freedom that comes from surrender, here is something many people misunderstand. Surrender does not make life harder. It actually makes life lighter. When God leads your life, you stop forcing things. You stop carrying every burden alone. You stop worrying about every possible outcome. Because you know something important. God is leading. And when God leads, even the unknown becomes safe. Final thought. Maybe right now you feel tired. Maybe you feel confused about the future. Maybe you have been trying to control everything. But God is inviting you into something better. Not more pressure, not more striving, but trust. Real peace begins the moment you say, Lord, I surrender my plans to you. And when you truly surrender, the Holy Spirit begins to guide your life in ways you never expected. If this message spoke to your heart, take a moment right now, quiet your mind, and simply pray, Holy Spirit, lead my life. Because the step God is asking you to take today might be the beginning of a completely new direction.